Welcome to Overtime on Inferno, your weekly roundup of all the biggest stories in CSGO, quicker than m0NESY NXT overtakes the actual m0NESY team in the rankings. Quick reminder to rate and review us at the end of the episode. It really helps us. I'm Logan. This is Aizyesque. On today's episode, we spend 40 minutes talking about why NA is dead, but maybe not. And then we talk about some other stuff like Ropz
m0NESY to G2.
and m0NESY to G2 and other stuff. But none of that matters because we talk about NA for like a half hour. Roll the intro. All right, we've got a couple of stories this week from Roster Mania. It's been an odd week. It's definitely been a weird week.
Yeah. It's weird, man. Like, I obviously was expecting big roster moves, but some of these just either don't make sense or I just don't know what to think about them.
There's a lot
of
these.
Strange.
There's a lot of these I don't know what to think about. Let's start with the biggest story prior to this morning, which is Malek parting with G2.
I'm not sure that's the biggest story.
I'm not sure that's the biggest either, now that I say it. But we'll start with Malek.
It's a story.
Pre-major, it was decided that Malek would be leaving G2 after the major. Then G2 got to major finals. And Malek left the team anyway. So I guess they're starting to move on. We've heard rumblings about bringing Opera in on G2.
Well. Yeah, so there's a couple of rumors. One of them we'll get to a little bit later. Yeah. Another one I've heard is that they're apparently trying to sign Ropz.
I've heard that.
So it looks like they're trying to spend some cash. They're obviously looking to really go into winning a major. And they're really gonna. I mean, if they sign Ropz or any of the other players that they're sort of rumored to be going after, this team's gonna be fucking scary. Like, this is gonna be a crazy team.
And to be fair, when this team is working as it is right now, it's scary. I mean, they just made a major final.
I mean, yes, but it's gonna be like. If the moves work out, they'll be terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. And they're obviously going to need to find a new coach. I don't know who you get because I don't know what coaches are actually any good, and I don't think anyone does. Devilwalk's available, right?
I think there was rumor that m0NESY was going to be coaching.
Oh yeah,
that's the IGL from FPX, who I believe has played with m0NESY and Hunter before.
Yeah,
on Crazy a while back.
Mm-hmm.
Which is cool. It's kind of weird to me because Malek is one of the coaches that like you visibly see hyping the team up. There's not many of them that you see like visibly right behind the team. It's like Zonic, Malek. That might be the end of the list.
I really don't pay attention to coaches. I have no idea.
But even during the major, right, when coaches were not allowed to, show emotions, he just gave zero fucks and just did it anyway.
Yeah.
And for that, he has my respect. I don't know. It's kind of weird that after they get to a major finals that they continue on with this move that just got them to the major final anyway.
Yeah, but they've been very inconsistent, and even though they got to a major final, they didn't win it.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if you really want to be the best team in the world, you can't be content with losing a major final. So,
to be fair, they didn't win it because Nico didn't put the R8 revolver on. If he had the R8 in that kill, he wins that. 1000%.
They're still losing the final map regardless.
Yeah, but
so
at least they get one map. All right. That was quick. Let's talk to the second part of the G2 story. Navi apparently is open to offers for m0NESY.
Yeah.
Their star academy player. And rumor that we've heard, and everyone's heard realistically, is m0NESY. I've heard m0NESY G2.
Yeah. So Nell put out an article saying that G2 are looking to make more changes, with m0NESY potentially leaving. m0NESY is an AWPer. G2 need an AWPer. m0NESY's like fucking crazy. The only reason this move doesn't make sense is why on earth would Na'Vi sell a guy who might be he might genuinely be one of the best players in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, very shortly. We don't know, obviously. Maybe they know something I don't. But why are you selling him to a team who are this close to you?
That you have to play.
Yeah, like, if m0NESY is as good as everything seems to suggest he is, you don't want to be giving him to G2.
No. Give him to
Even if
like
it's for a wad of cash.
give him to like Entropic for like 5 minutes or something like that.
So, I was considering earlier,
Oh goodness.
and I know this is heretical to even suggest, but what if you sold Simple and kept m0NESY?
I've been thinking about this.
Because right now,
Is Simple as an all-time high for amount that people will pay for him. And if you think that m0NESY is as good as he is, if you are any somewhat high on m0NESY, and you think that in like 3-4 months that if you give him pro level play that he will be even 80% of what Simple is, you make so much money off of selling
yeah,
Simple,
it's
and then you can come
like,
back with m0NESY. No, I've been thinking about this too. I
and
understand.
I can't justify it because this Navi team might be the best team of all time. There's a
Correct.
very real chance that that is true, and I will defend that point. Some people are like instantly, no, they can't be as good as. I will defend the idea that they might be the best team of all time.
I think
But
they're better than Strauss. I think this is the best team.
I do too. So to break that up as the era begins would be insanity.
Yeah.
But from a purely business perspective, if you could get 1.5 million for Simple, replace him for free with this kid who is just obliterating the Academy League, like destroying the Academy League.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like I'd be tempted from a business point of view. I mean, it's from a Counter-Strike point of view, it's obviously a bad idea, but that's a lot of money.
Well, yeah, it's a lot of money, and the other thing is in everyone's head. I know that every single person is thinking Simple and m0NESY will never play on the same team.
Yeah,
because they occupy the exact same space. So,
yeah.
like we're kind of at a point at which Navi needs to get rid of one or the other, or they both need to be. One of them needs to be okay, and in this case, it would be m0NESY needs to be okay just playing backup. Which there's no chance in hell that m0NESY is going to be okay playing backup forever. So what I was reading last night regarding m0NESY is if he gets like signed out, if he gets signed by somewhere else, that maybe there's a trade clause back in there that says in 2 years he comes back to Navi or something like that. That basically there's a lifetime on whatever it is that he'll still be contracted to Navi, but being loaned out to G2 or wherever. I think that's a reasonable way to go about it, but I don't know, man.
If you
It's
can,
like,
I cannot see Ocelot, Carlos,
yeah.
letting Navi have a buyback clause. It would make no sense for G2.
I'm sorry, we're talking about the same G2 that just put a clause in their contract in League of Legends that said you can't sell perks to Fnatic.
Exactly. That's exactly why they won't let Navi have a buyback clause. Because it makes zero sense. Like, you get a talented kid who needs refining, you refine him and then lose him. It doesn't make sense. Like,
no, that clause makes sense if you're selling him to like Entropic, or you're selling him to like some team that's Entropic's my number one CIS like up and coming team in my head, right? But if you're gonna sell him to a team that is going to who is probably top 30 already, who needs a little bit of push to get to do well, who just like is kind of on the brink and they need like a star player, that's where m0NESY goes with that kind of stuff. But it's not G2.
Yeah,
At least
if
with
he's
the
going
buyback.
to
At
another
least with the
team like
buyback.
that, you're going to have to pay for him. Like, he's going to be... I mean, I don't even have a ballpark figure for how much he's going to cost.
A shit ton.
But I would assume a shit ton if it's no buyback clause.
I'd assume 500,000.
Yeah,
That's my
and
guess.
probably like a fifth of that if you allow them a buyback clause.
Yeah,
But
half of a. I'd say half of a device. I'd be willing to.
yeah, like
Everything has to be measured in terms of a percentage of a device.
he has to be the hottest prospect, as in like under 18
Yeah,
you
yeah. Of
could
like
possibly get.
Academy League wise, there's like three prospects. I think he's at the top of the three.
Yeah,
The other
he's
two
certainly
being
the hottest
JDC
prospect.
and Torzy.
Yeah,
Like,
who, for the record, should probably both be in Masters team, like their main team.
what if you just made the Academy League super team? What if just some org just says, "Fuck it, we're making the Academy League super team. We're gonna take m0NESY, we're gonna take JDC, we're gonna take Torzy, and then just find
You would be broke immediately. It would cost so much money.
yeah." But you'd also probably have a top 10 team in the world easy.
I don't know about that. You'd have a top 40 team with potential to be top 10.
m0NESY is like 25 in the rankings right now.
I I I genuinely would not be surprised if Mouse did a Gambit Youngsters and just brought up Torzy,
Oh my!
JDC, Exertion, Shuhei, and kept Frozen.
Assuming Rob leaves. Rob says.
Ropz,
I
Ropz
know,
is
I
gone.
know he is, but like in this situation,
Yeah.
okay,
Like,
let's
who
move
else
on.
would you even keep on? Like, BMAS is pretty good, but if you're
Eh,
like, you kind of want to keep the Mouse and XT guys together. Dexter, I'm not
no,
convinced by. Acor, I'm not convinced
no,
by. Rops
yeah.
is going. Like, I really wouldn't be surprised if Mouse went, you're our main team now. Go have fun, kids.
I love it, but I also hate it. All right, Esoteg to Nip. I think we've got like a little bit more confirmation on this, other than all the confirmation we've gotten already, with Rez tweeting that we'll have somebody new with us for Blast Premiere like two
Yeah.
hours ago. So this is all but like actually confirmed in like we don't have the writing from Nip that says this is happening.
This move is way too sensible.
Yeah, this move makes sense. I don't like that
Yeah,
thing.
I hate it. It just
It's
makes too much.
terrible.
Like it can't. I just refuse to believe it can work because it's just not fun. Like it's a really boring fucking move that makes
Yeah,
too much sense. It's
this is
he's a good role player. Like all the fucking cliches about players like him that aren't actually that good. Like oh yeah, no, he's just a good role player. Whatever. Like I'm not convinced Tag is actually any good.
no, but I'd be willing to say that he's an upgrade over LNZ.
Well, yeah, obviously, but like I'm still not convinced he's actually any good. He's
Th-
fine.
this to me is one of those like changing the fifth man moves that might actually make an effect. Just a
It
small one, but
it
an effect.
might, but like you still have like I don't know, man. I don't understand NIP's thought pattern ever. Like, yeah, I mean, okay, I've kept telling him to get rid of LNZ and get a real fifth, so it makes sense in that sense. But you've just seen Navi not drop a map in the major.
Yeah. And your
Is the only
solution to
reason they
that?
did that because Perfecto is a bit better than LNZ? No.
No.
Like, I mean, it's entirely possible they make other changes, sure. I don't know. It's a move that makes sense, but it's just so uninteresting, and I don't think it moves the needle quite enough for NIP to actually improve in any meaningful way. I mean, it is a good move in that sense, but I
Who
don't
do
know. It doesn't
you
excite me.
who do you think would be next on the chopping block if they were to make multiple moves? Plopsky?
Yeah, almost certainly. I don't really know what Plopsky does.
Okay.
He's fine.
Understandable.
That's the thing. They have a whole lot of fine players.
I
You
mean,
look at that roster.
Res pre major, Res pre extension was a great player.
But he does this all the time. He like has a period where he looks like he's finally become one of the best players in the world, and then he just
And then he
drops
just
off.
goes away, yeah.
Yeah, he does this. He's done this several times now, and at some point you're gonna have to realize he's just an inconsistent player, which is fine.
That's
He's an
okay.
entry. That's kind of normal. But when one of your stars is Plopsky, it's a bit less ideal.
Yeah.
This team has a lot of things that are stopping it from being the best team in the world, and they've corrected one, which is fair enough. I'm not convinced Tag is as good as everyone seems to like. I swear there was some like collective Mandela effect where suddenly everyone's always rated S Tag, when I swear nobody rated him 2 years ago. And I guess him like spending a month on Astralis somehow is like
Yeah,
gaslighting people. I have no idea.
it's weird.
It's so
Maybe
strange.
it's, and it's kind of surprising to me that his time in C9 didn't actually drop his stock.
Um, yeah. So I mean, that was weird as well. Like he's so he's known, right, as being quite a good role player, and that's kind of what he was on Astralis. And then Cloud9 signed him to be their star player. He obviously wasn't good enough to be the star player for a team that was trying to be the best team in the world.
Yeah.
And everyone just went, "Oh yeah, well, you know, he's not a star." It was like, well, yeah, but why were we ever convinced? Why were people convinced he was? We've always known he wasn't a star player. I don't really get S Attack. He's clearly decent, but people
But
seem to
not,
be confused as to what he actually is. Like, is he an AWPer? No. Is he a support player? I mean, I think so for that sort of level. But Cloud9 seemed to think he was much better than that, and then
he wasn't. But
yeah, well, obviously, I don't know.
I think this is more of a conversation about how weird that Cloud9 team was, to be fair.
Yeah, sure, but maybe Esatag is just a victim of those circumstances. But I really don't know if he's any good or not. And NIP clearly gambling on the fact that he is. It's also another non-Swedish player. I don't know if he speaks Swedish. I would assume so.
Well, from Phil, for those of you uninitiated, Phil is one of the editor in chiefs at TLDR. I think it's the official title. Phil said that he speaks Danish, which is basically Swedish, I believe.
It's not.
I
It's
correct, but
it's similar
that's
enough that you can often understand the other person, but not necessarily speak it. In the same way, if you're German, you can understand somebody speaking Dutch, but you wouldn't be able to respond to them in Dutch.
Okay. All right. I want to move on to the next rumor because I think this Esatech thing is all but confirmed, and honestly, in the end of the day, we're just gonna have to see what it brings. There's not.
Yeah, it makes too much sense in a way that it seems too obvious that I just can't see it. Like, it sounds so counterproductive, but
it seems so obvious that there's no way it happens, but it's definitely gonna happen.
Yeah.
All right. I want to move on to the JKS to m0NESY rumors I heard.
Is this a real rumor?
Okay, so this was a rumor I heard via the internet webs. Then I heard then now I'm seeing that JKS is putting out the standard. As of now, I'm still contracted, but I'm looking at all my options for the future and excited to start the next chapter tweet. So the more I read this, the less I believe in this. But I want to talk about the important part about the m0NESY stuff, which is that Ropz is leaving m0NESY. That is like all but written on paper.
Like the if he hasn't signed a contract by now, I just can't see him doing it. I don't know.
Are you talking about JKS or Ropz?
Ropz.
Okay.
Yeah. JKS stylistically is about as close to Ropz as you're going to get, and if you get 100 Thieves JKS,
yeah,
you're pretty happy with that because
was that Stockholm? Not Stockholm. Berlin Majors JKS.
Yeah, for like a year or two, he was crazy.
Yeah,
and then he just fell off a cliff when he joined Complexity for whatever reason. So it's a risk if you do, like. I've not seen anyone credible say. I've only seen it in like Twitter comments. So I don't know if it's legit.
No, I have no clue if it's legit. I just figured we'd talk about it.
It feels like somebody's put two and two together. Like, oh, JKS is available. m0NESY need a passive rifler.
It's a perfect match.
m0NESY don't tend to spend a lot of money, and I feel like JKS would cost a decent whack, buyout and salary.
I'm trying to find out where I found this, by the way.
I don't know. Stylistically, it makes sense, but it's a gamble because he has been out of form recently. If you can get peak form JKS, he's a fucking monster. He's a really, really good player. Yeah. And he will be about as fitting a replacement for Ropz as you can find. But I wonder if they even want to replace Ropz.
if they don't want to just go a totally different way and play around Frozen and BMAS.
Yeah, like
I think if you're Mouse right now, right, that you probably want to bring some of the Mouse and XT guys up, like JDC, Exertion, Torzy.
that makes more sense to me. Like, I don't know why you
Yeah,
wouldn't want to bring in JDC or Torzy. And
or
I mean,
both.
I've heard they're going to trial Torzy, but they're not convinced that Acor is a busted flush just yet.
Which
Um,
separate thing.
yeah. What I've heard from Jack, actually, who you had on the pod last week, was something he pointed out to me, which I thought was very interesting, is that all of Dexter's teams in the past were based around a static AWPer. All of his calling was dynamic riflers, static AWPer. And what he has on mouse is a static rifler and an aggressive AWPer, and his style hasn't changed enough. So there's a sort of conflict between
Yeah,
Ropz not wanting to be dynamic and be aggressive, and Dexter want him to, and Acor wants to be dynamic and aggressive, and Dexter doesn't want him to. He wants him to just hold an angle. And I thought that was a really interesting point, and one that I hadn't sort of picked up on myself, and would explain a lot of
yeah,
issues that Mouse have.
that actually does explain a large amount there.
Yeah. And
Do
I do think that's quite a, like, that's something you should consider, like, and it feels like it's something that Mouse didn't consider when they signed Acor and Dexter.
Yeah. Uh Ropz for a second. Where do we think landing places are for Ropz? Obviously G2 is a constant landing place for any player that becomes available at any given point.
And FaZe
Past
is the other one.
G2 phase.
FaZe, I think are pretty interested. That's something I was told. I don't can't verify it, but I think they're probably interested. I mean, again, even if you hadn't heard it, you'd be like, oh yeah, you
Yeah.
probably just go to
Yeah.
FaZe. Like, it just makes sense.
FaZe is the team that, like, if you're a European player that knows how to play the game, you're rumored to go there.
The thing with Ropz is it's quite unfortunate for him because he doesn't have any national teams to go to.
Yeah,
So
he has
he
to go
has
to
to go to
national.
international teams. Like, he doesn't really have, like, he either has to go to international teams or join like an American team and make it international.
I can almost guarantee, just in the way that Liquid has done things in the past, which is the only American teams he can go to is EG or Liquid. And there's if I am a pro player in Counter Strike right now, I do not go to EG unless it is my literally last option in the world,
Or unless you have
or unless they give
confirmation on
me
what their new roster is.
confirmation on their new roster or a literal shit pile of money. Like
Yeah.
you're Scrooge McDuck, like swimming around kind of vibes. I don't touch EG with a 10-foot pole, right?
No,
But
true.
so like
So
realistically,
extra salt it is.
I don't think that Liquid do the Ropz thing. There's been some other Liquid rumors that we will definitely get to, but
Yeah, I mean, Ropz would be a better idea than who they're actually going to import. But he would also have pretty big stylistic clashes with Nefly.
yeah. We'll talk about Liquid in a second because there's more to that discussion. But like, where do we? I mean, there's not really a good place for Ropz to land, like other than G2 phase.
There's OG again. If Valde does indeed leave, he's a pretty good replacement for Valde in many
Yeah,
senses. And Finland's kind of close to Estonia, so there's some sort
Finland
of
is
brotherhood
kind
there.
of close to us. Do they
It
play
is.
in
They're
Finland?
actually like pretty close. Not necessarily culturally, but their languages are quite similar as well.
Okay, okay. I mean, big at this point is an international team.
And they still speak German though.
I know. Gabe's been speaking German, which is weird, but whatever. And then like it's there's just a point in which it's like teams that Ropz is too good to go to.
Yeah.
So we're
I,
kind of
if NIP decided to speak English,
yeah. That could be a thing.
now
But
we're talking. You swap Plopsky for Rops. Now we're talking. I mean, it's a very passive team, other
well,
than
no.
Res.
Here's my
But
problem. If you swap Plopsky for Ropz, okay, I'm gonna be so upset. because you paid $1 million for device.
And then you
You're
have to
paying
buy.
however much you are for Ropz's buyout, because there is some sort
Well,
of buyout.
he's out of contract in a week.
Okay, so you wait a week, right?
Yeah.
You get Ropz in a week for free, but you paid $1 million for the device, and you fucking stuck him with Linus and ZTR for
Yeah.
like 6 months.
Well,
When
yeah, I
you
mean, they've already
like,
done that.
why
So
not just wait for
I,
devices?
I don't know. I can't explain that to you.
No
No,
one can explain it to me. Just
if you put Ropz on that team, like it's going to be a bait off between Ropz and Device. But there's so much skill on that team that it's kind of like, it's fine. We'll just wait until there's 10 seconds left around before we do anything.
do they still bring in? I don't even want to continue on this train of thought. I want to talk about the second stupidest rumor that has come out of this week. The stupidest being the one that we just made.
Yeah. Okay. I was gonna say, like, what's dumber than this?
No, the Shox, not Shox to Liquid. The dumbest rumor is Ropz to Nip. The second dumbest rumor, yeah, Shox to Liquid.
I hate this.
I hate this so much.
Absolutely hate. Like, I put out a Twitter thread on it because it really annoys me that American teams have vacated their region for 18 months because they're like, it's not good enough. And then they're like, oh yeah, no, there's just no talent here for us to get. Of course there's no fucking talent here. Who are they supposed to practice against? You haven't, like, supposedly some of the American teams are always a bit picky anyway about practicing against lower teams. And, they wouldn't take practice that seriously. So this talent that exists, and it does exist. I don't care what anyone says. There is fucking talent in North America still.
Like, yeah, I'm here.
It's it's unrefined talent. Don't get me wrong, but why? Like, it doesn't make sense to import a player who is past his peak instead of trying to refine. Like, okay, you tried it with Grim and it didn't work. Maybe that's put you off forever. But that doesn't make fucking sense. If you're going to import talent. Don't import don't import fucking like 27-year-old Shox who's not good enough for other top 10 teams. He's being cut by Vitality for a reason. It's not because he's good enough for Liquid. The only way it makes sense is if Shox is the in-game leader for this team. And that makes even less sense.
Which he shouldn't be. If he's the in-game leader for this team, I'm selling all of my Liquid merchandise.
He has to be. It doesn't make sense otherwise. Because the only...
Don't hold me to that. I'm not actually doing that.
If you're going to import somebody, it has to be an in-game leader. Because that is the one position where North America is like, all right, we've got Stanislaw, who is Stanislaw. Sheikh Zula, who, as a player, is not good enough for Tier 1 Counter-Strike. Great in-game leader.
Yeah.
Great talent scout.
You know what the worst part is?
Not have the hands for a Tier 1 team.
Probably the best NA IGL at this point is the IGL for Party Astronauts, who's Ponalone.
And he's 30.
30. Yeah. He's 30.
The best... Genuinely, the best North American in-game leader is Tarek. Like...
Okay, the separate NA talk for a minute here. I was joking about this, but like, I see that there's an actual possibility that this could happen, is that EG says screw Breezy, that if all the rumors come true and S2E's available from Liquid, EG already has Tarek, they bring S2E, Automatic might be looking to get out of Valorant, Rush is a free agent already,
Tarek's available.
You just rebuild the C9 roster, but with Cirque and Skadoodle, and tell me that's not like a top 60 team in the world, which is better than EG was before.
So, I think Stewie might go there.
I
also think Nafly might go there.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk Liquid as a thing, because let's just talk NA. There's so much going on in NA. Every single roster is going to change. There's zero chance that like there isn't a roster touched. At least like decent rosters that we know about, right? In my head, I've already confirmed in my head. Now, this is not confirmed by anyone.
This is headcanon.
This is headcanon, right? I've already confirmed in my head that Liquid by like halfway through January is just going to be Elysian Grim.
Yeah.
Like, that's headcanon for me. There's no, like... I love Naf.
Elise, like, Shox. Oh god, yeah, I don't even
No.
know.
Well, okay. Here's the only way that Shox going to Liquid doesn't make sense. Well, okay, there's a lot of ways, but Shox going to Liquid, he won't IGL because of rumor number 2 on the list, which is Nitro preparing to come back from Valorant.
Yeah, see,
If
this is not
Nitro
like
comes,
I
there's
hate this move as well.
bro, NA is just fucking everywhere. Okay, if
I
Nitro comes back from Valorant though, then
I
Shox doesn't go to
hate Team
Liquid.
Liquid, man. I hate this team. What are they doing? Shox and Nitro? What fucking year is it? Why
Yo,
are we signing? Nitro hasn't played Counter Strike in fucking years, man. And even
I'm
when he
just
did, he
gonna
wasn't that good.
I'm just gonna DM Steve and you go, yo, you're fucking up your roster. Can you just like not for a minute and just
Oh,
listen to
God,
me?
it's so infuriating.
I
Like,
brought I brought up my Liquid roster last week, right? I want it to be Elige, I want it to be Grim, I want it to be OC, I want it to be Obo, and then I want to put an IGL there. And if that IGL is Nitro, that's okay by me because the rest of the team can do better on that mark.
I think
But
Obo
like
might stay on EG, but I'm not sure. Ooh, hello. I'm not sure. That's
they
but like
removed him already. They're not
I
gonna
don't know
add him
what I don't
back.
know what happened to Obo. Like he was like insanely hyped, and obviously he had that thing where he went homesick and then came back.
Okay,
But like
but he
he's
went
still good,
homesick
right?
and then he went to
Probably.
EG where players go to die temporarily.
Yeah,
So
he's
like
kind of Miho'd his career.
I have a feeling he'll be back. I mean, he's like 10 years old.
Well, yeah, but I thought that about Esperanto. Like Esperanto did the same thing. He took like one or two bad roster moves, and now nobody's got any fucking idea who he is.
Is he on Gorillas right now?
Probably.
No, I think he got kicked from Gorillas, which is
I just it's like gorillas are kind of, and this reference won't make sense to you, but
all right.
gorillas are like QPR in the early 2010s. Where if you just don't know where a footballer is, they're probably at QPR or Fenerbahce. Like it's one of those two. Like they've either gone to Turkey or they're playing for QPR, or they went to Turkey and then signed for QPR. Like it's just like absolute nonsense footballers would just turn up at QPR for a year. And it's kind of what like it's kind of how gorillas are to me. I'm like, oh yeah, Sergey. What's oh, of course he is. Yeah, gorillas. I wonder what happened to Sunny. Oh yeah, gorillas.
Gorillas.
JW's like left Fnatic. That's crazy. Where's he? Oh, gorillas. Oh, yeah, okay. Like I
Okay.
swear they're gonna sign like Oscar and Joel's and stuff. Like it's just gonna be like all these players you forgot. Tarek's gonna go there. Like
God, no.
Fugly's just turned up. He's doing a Peter Odd and Wingy. He's turned up at the gate. It's like, can I sign, please? Another reference you won't get, but it's genius. Trust me.
It's genius, trust me. That's the new tagline for Overtime Inferno. It's genius, trust me.
Peter Odd and Wingy was a footballer who wanted to move on deadline day to another team, and there was a rumor they wanted him, and he drove. He drove to their stadium and just waited outside the gate. They didn't even have a bid accepted. He just tried to turn up and sign for them. As that's Fugly right now. He's just turned up at the Gorillas headquarters. Like, can I play? You got space?
Wait, I'm sorry. The
I'll
Gorillas
be a
headquarters.
Yeah. It's a zoo.
Okay. Let's get back on topic for like half a second. Okay, so Liquid needs a team. Evil Geniuses needs a team, and then Shadow Realm team of Cloud9 that I have vibes that will exist.
I don't think they'll all exist on the same team.
No. Well, obviously not. They're 3 different teams.
No, I mean like the 5 Cloud9.
Oh no, I'm saying Cloud9 comes back into Counter-Strike in the next like 6
Oh,
months.
and just signs all the
whoever's
old Cloud9
left.
players. I'd be surprised because, like I think S2E10 might just go to EG. And
No. I'm not saying Cloud9 signs old Cloud9 players. I'm saying that there
Oh,
might be 3
I'm saying they
rosters in
should
A.
though. I'm saying they should.
I'm saying EG's gonna do that. Because
I'm saying
realistically, right?
Cloud9 should come back and buy all of their old players. And be like,
realistically, the only player...
Liquid, you want to go nostalgic. You want to bring Nitro back. We'll go one fucking better. We're bringing back the major winning roster in 2018. Skadoodle, we're dragging him out of Valorant. I don't care what he says. He's coming.
To be fair, right? I think that Cirque, even at whatever stage this might be an upgrade over Skadoodle. It's been a while since I watched Skadoodle footage, right? I think
if he's not, that's more embarrassing.
Yeah, I think at this point, Stewie may possibly be considered a better player than he was during Cloud9.
I
I
disagree. I think he was better during Cloud9.
Okay. At worst, he's the same.
Yeah.
Okay. I think Tarek is Tarek, and no matter what Tarek does, that he will be at least adequate, right?
Yeah, it's not like Tarek was actually like he was always a bit dumb. Like he
Yeah.
always played in such a chaotic way.
Yeah.
It's still gonna work.
Let's not talk about Automatic because he's still on T1 Valorant, right? But Rush is a free agent, and Rush did play very well for Complexity up until he wasn't on Complexity anymore.
At times, yeah.
But
I
like
like Rush, but
that team could actually exist and be a decent team, and that's insane to me. I don't like that.
it would be a bad team.
Hold up, what if you just rebuilt C9 but take away Automatic and put Elysian?
I mean, but like, it's such a waste of Elige. Elige deserves so much better than that.
No disagreements. All right, so here's my.
Elige is so good. Like, I don't know what Elige should genuinely. Elige should just go and join a Brazilian team. There's just no reason for him to be on be in NA anymore. He deserves so much better than NA. So put him on consent, please.
Here's my thing that's never gonna happen, but I'm gonna say it anyway because I think it's funny. But it's never gonna happen. Liquid turns international around Elige.
I wouldn't hate it, honestly. Like they've clearly given up on being an NA team because they're importing fucking Shox.
Oh, okay. I'm still not convinced they're importing Shox. What is the definition of advanced talks? Is that just like Team Liquid? It's like Shox asked Team Liquid and Team Liquid responded. Is this just like one DM between each other, or is this like they have a contract out, and when Shox gets officially kicked, he can sign?
If Nell says it, I just assume it's true. Nell is if it's about a French Counter-Strike player and Nell says it, it's I don't think I've ever seen him be wrong on a French team. I just assume it's true. Like I don't know what advanced talks means exactly, but it probably means there's like a buyout agreed.
Nell, if you're listening, which you're not, but Nell, if you're listening, can we get a definition of what advanced talks means? Like where in the process is advanced talks?
I think sort of figuring that out would only muddy the like it's only going to make him look silly if it doesn't work. Like if something does change,
I'm not talking about specifically in this. I'm just talking in general. Can we figure out what advanced talks means?
It's kind of like, you know, it's like if you're like a relationship. Oh, you know, we're in a talking stage with.
Is that like? Is that just like Shox and Naf went to a bar one day and talked? Like
they're exclusive now. They're exclusive now. They've both Shox and Team Liquid have both changed their Facebook status to "It's complicated."
Liquid status has been that for 4 years, man.
I cannot stress how much I hate this move. I at the end of my tweet thread, I said something which I think I deserve. I think I deserve like money for. I was really happy with the line, "You'll find Team Liquid importing cubic zirconium to Sierra Leone." I was so happy with that. And I was like, there's no way everyone who likes this even knows what I'm talking about. But Sierra Leone was like famous for like blood diamonds. And cubic zirconium is like fake diamonds that they put in wedding. I was so happy with it. I was like, this is such a great line, and nobody's going to get it.
Okay. Realistically, let's talk about NA. Because whatever we've talked about,
just sign m0NESY, man. I can't do any more. Just sign him. He's so good.
I want m0NESY to be on a better team. Let's start there.
I want m0NESY to have a real in-game leader.
What if m0NESY
and a team that will play around him? A team that will flash for him would be ideal.
What if Furia dropped and brought in m0NESY?
Just do it, man. Like
fuck it. I mean, that's
somebody sign m0NESY, man. Like he's not. He speaks English and Portuguese
and Spanish because he's no. Does he speak Spanish?
I don't know if he speaks. He might do. I think the official language of Guatemala is English. I'm pretty sure I looked this up. He definitely speaks English. He definitely speaks Portuguese. He might speak Spanish as well. Which, you know, Movistar, if you're listening,
it's Spanish. The official Spanish.
Oh, okay. Well, he speaks
the official most spoken language.
Okay. Well, he speaks perfect English as well.
Yeah.
So he can go to an NA team. He can go to a Spanish team. He can go to a Brazilian team. he's like, I don't know. You if you watch him play mechanically, he's
Insane.
superb. Like like he is mechanically good enough to make a step up. Maybe you might need to teach him a little bit because he's been on Team One. He's constantly or consistently one of their highest rated players, if not their highest rated players, from an entry position on a pretty poor team. Like he's clearly, and he's like 18 as well. Like I know,
Yeah,
I know, I've said it
super
hundreds of
young.
times, but I just don't. I don't understand why you wouldn't take a gamble on this guy, unless his buyout is higher than I would imagine. I would be surprised because there's no way Team One would put a massive buyout on it. I don't think. I don't understand why somebody like EG or Team Liquid wouldn't take that gamble. Like you might as well gamble on players like him because if it doesn't work out, it's somewhat low risk. You can probably recoup some of it as well. And if it
Yeah.
does work out, you've
Well,
saved yourself so much money.
and if it doesn't work out, where did Malbs just play?
What do you mean?
What region was he just playing in? Brazil?
Well, he's
Oh.
been playing in North America, yeah, but for a
But my
Brazilian
point
team.
is the second you sign a Brazilian player, it recoups itself just automatically.
Well, he isn't Brazilian, so
I know he's not Brazilian, but you know that the Brazilians would cheer for Malbs because he just played for Team One for
yeah, they might do.
years and helped Team One become relevant again. Right? And realistically, like South America in general is a good region for fans in the world. And he's
Yeah,
the only Guatemalan player.
I mean,
think of.
Liquid, EG, especially EG, actually have missed the boat. Like there was a lot of good talent in America that's gone to Valorant that you neglect. Like there was never a clear path for these players to get onto decent teams. Like it's always just like you could maybe hit Chaos and then you were stuck because nobody wanted to sign those players and no orgs wanted to sign them for whatever reason. So like you kind of like you're stuck in purgatory because Team Liquid are signing Shox instead of signing like an American. Like I don't care that you think American players aren't good enough because Shox isn't good enough. So
Yeah,
what difference does it fucking make? You might as well
yeah.
spend less and get a player you can mold into what you think you want than importing a guy who's already not what you want. Like it just doesn't make sense. Like okay, maybe Malbs, maybe Chixie. I don't know how you're supposed to say it. CXZI.
Sexy.
It is. I refuse to call
It
him
is.
sexy. I'm going to call him Sixy instead.
You can do that, man.
I don't care if you don't think he's good enough because there's a
Fucking
better
cynic.
there's a better chance that Sixy is good enough to be a tier 1 player than there is that Shox is the player that takes Liquid to the best team in the world. I honestly believe it. I believe if you had a good in-game leader and a good system, you slotted him in there, you could probably teach him to play at this level. He might not be brilliant, but Shox isn't brilliant anymore either. So what have you got to lose? I would genuinely import. I'd maybe import an in-game leader if I'm an American team.
Yeah,
If I was
that's
EG,
the only thing that I would do.
if I was
Importing
EG, even if you don't like MSL, maybe you don't. There's other in-game leaders you can import. You can import like an Asilian. You could import. I mean, hell, if you're a tier 2 NA team, you're like party astronaut, somebody like that. Obviously not them, but like you can import Crystal and just give him some talent, and he will get you to the best team in NA, like or like the best team outside of EG and Liquid, maybe.
Yep.
Like Crystal plus 4 young American players, he would get you there, and he would teach these American players how to play Counter-Strike in a way that they might not necessarily have learned before. Like NA has become even more insular due to COVID, and that's hurt it because the top teams in the region have no interest in helping the rest of the region, which they're not like they don't have to do. But then you screw yourself because if you don't invest in the young talent of the region in which you're playing in, there's not going to be any talent for you to sign when you need a player, and that's just the way it is. Like you've dug your own grave, and now you're like trying to sign a gravedigger to get out of it. It's infuriating, man. Like I just. I'm not even American. I have like no skin in the game when it comes to North American Counter-Strike. But there's clearly talent there that needs to be taught, needs a chance to play on a better team. I don't care if it's Liquid, I don't care if it's EG, I don't care if they have to go to like Europe. There is talent in North America, and just everyone's just like, well, all the good talents. Okay, you've lost Curry, you've lost whoever it was. Like, I mean, I thought Curry was really good, but he saw no chance of ever getting onto a good team in Counter-Strike, so he left.
Like, Floppy is 21 years old and has proven he's a good player.
Yeah.
Like, call Floppy up.
Yeah, that's somebody we haven't really talked about.
To be fair, I don't see OC staying on Extra Salt throughout whatever happens next, right? There is NA talent that will move up. I don't see OC staying. I don't see Floppy staying. I could truly see Cynic moving somewhere, right? There are definitely players in NA that I see moving to higher teams. The problem is, in Europe, we have 7,000 of these players.
Yeah.
In NA, I can name you 3. I just named
and
you 3.
They still don't get signed. That's the infuriating thing. You can say there's less talent, but there's no talent. Like Junior, I think Junior might just move up to EG, or like nobody in the world could convince me that Cirque is a better player than Junior. I do not care.
Nope.
Nobody will convince me Cirque is better than Junior. Junior is a better player. I don't care. Please, just Cirque is a busted flush. Like, he looked good for a bit. He's not it, man. He's not it. Like, call up Junior. Pay whatever Extra Salt want for OC. Like, I'm really hoping people sign these Extra Salt players, because Extra Salt are the only team in the region who actually wants to like improve North American talent.
That's not true. Extra Salt as an org does. The other 2 teams that want to improve NA talent are not orgs, unfortunately.
Yeah, sure.
Like Party Astronauts and Bad News Bears literally sell their merch from a website called SaveNACS.com. They are very much all in on, we want NACS to continue. But like org-wise, I don't think EG gives a shit. Like,
no, and they don't have to give a shit, but like, it is going to hurt you in the end if you have to keep importing players like fucking Spellan.
God.
Like, that's how doomed they think NA is that they would rather like try Spellan than Junior, than fucking like Cynic, than Sixy, than Matt.
Fang. Like Fang, there's so many good players in NA.
Like, Fang came out of nowhere, right, onto Extra Salt, and he's good. Like, he's a good player. He's a little bit raw, as you expect, but he's a good player. And everyone went, "Oh my god, where the hell did they sign this player from?" It's like, well, they actually fucking looked at their region, and instead of going, "Oh, it's doomed, let's import fucking Shox," they thought, "All right, let's take a gamble."
Like, there are good players in NA. Like, I swear, I've watched a decent amount of North American Counter-Strike over the last while, right? Zotic, right? Wiz. They're good players in North America. Someone just needs to fucking sign them.
Somebody, there's a dearth of in-game leaders. So like,
that is the big problem. Actually,
if you're gonna sign a European player or whatever, sign a European in-game leader and just give them American talent, and let's actually see. Like, let's see if it's possible, because I don't want to see North America die, and I actually think people are underrating it as a region, and there's value to be found from these teams. And I don't know, like, maybe I'm completely off base. Maybe signing Shox is a better idea than taking a gamble on some tier 2, tier 3 talent, because you don't have an in-game leader to teach them, because Team Liquid just don't have an in-game leader. I don't know.
All right. North America rant over. Liquid 1,000% going to be Floppy, OC, Elige.
Yeah, now after all said this, they're going to just sign Shox and just give him North American talent, and it's going to be great. I'm sure.
And you know what? If that happens, and Shox,
if that happens, fair enough. Yeah.
Fair enough. If you're bringing in Shox to be the European IGL, the veteran player, he's literally has the most clutches ever won, right? Like, you know what? Fair.
Yeah, if you surround it with North American talent,
but if you're bringing him in for any other reason then you have just screwed over the rest of North America and probably your own team.
Yeah, it's not like if you sign Nitro as well, then I really hate it. Sign
If you sign
either
Nitro
Nitro or Shox,
yeah, sign one of the two.
and it's
And for
not
me
too bad.
personally, I prefer Nitro over Shox for a variety of reasons.
I'd prefer
One,
Shox over Nitro,
okay,
other than the financial aspect.
well, not even that. I prefer Nitro over Shox because it's an NA play, right? We're keeping talent in NA, regardless of if it's Nitro, who's 20 something years old, right? We're also we're showing that there's a path from Valorant back to Counter Strike,
Yeah, that's true.
which I think is a big thing because the only play that has done it so far has been Floppy, and I think if Floppy gets signed in this roster season, that it's a totally different ball game for all the players that are in Valorant because people would sign them at that given moment. And I think there's been a couple things that have been good for North American Counter Strike. One being the major having insanely good viewership numbers that has that might be able to help kickstart North American Counter Strike again, and lifting of COVID restrictions everywhere, that we might be able to actually start like having North America like on a tier 2 level consistently instead of like North America is tier 3 and bad. No,
The rumor,
I'm not even like expecting to get to like Europe level or anything.
no.
Just like get me like halfway there.
The rumor is the first major next year, or at least one of the majors next year, is in North America. That's the rumor.
I thought they were trying to go Rio first.
The rumor is that one of them is NA, one of them is South American.
Okay.
Um, I can't confirm it, but that's a rumor that's been going around. If that's true, I hope it entices Cloud9 and some of these. Maybe it entices some players back. Maybe it doesn't. I mean, Valorant. If you're enjoying Valorant, you're making more money than you probably would in Counter Strike, and if you're having fun, fucking go for it, man. Like
I mean, like fuck it.
you can't.
There's so many teams that I think that would like to get involved in Counter Strike if it wasn't Europe centric right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's teams in NA. I'm sure Immortals would invest money back in. 100 Thieves has stated publicly, as well as Cloud9, that the second that we can be in North America again, they will put money into North America. I am sure Jason Lake hates the idea that his Dallas Cowboys back team is playing out of somewhere in Denmark. Like there's definitely interest. It's just
Yeah, I guess the issue he had was Complexity was a 2 American, 3 European team, which is quite a nice
well
blend,
that yeah.
and it fell apart for whatever reason. Um, and I think that was quite. There's probably there's kind of like an idyllic what he wanted from Complexity. He's like, I'm going to build a juggernaut, but it's going to have some North American talent in, and I think that's probably what he wanted. Like that's quite nice if you can get that, but it's pretty hard to find that balance. And Cloud9 tried that balance, and clearly, I think the Americans had some like, sort of cultural differences, which it's normal, right? Like that's going to happen. Maybe it's best if America is insular, but let's at least gather up the talent and just like show that there's a clear path of progression to the top level. And as you say, like I kind of like the idea if Nitro comes back, it shows that there is a path back from Valorant to Counter Strike if you're not enjoying it, and if you do want to come back, like that's nice.
And there are definitely players who have proved themselves in Valorant in a way that they could not have in Counter Strike,
Yeah,
especially in the way because of COVID happening, right? Because we were insulated, and then there were teams like in Valorant, like Sentinels and stuff, that are ranked so highly. I know we've now veered way off topic, but there's there are teams in Valorant that are ranked so highly that are from North America, and you've proven yourself against them, or you are them, right? That maybe at this point, if you really like for Nitro, who I can almost guarantee Nitro never wanted to move over to Valorant. I think what I was listening.
I
I
think he
have
might have wanted to at some point, but I think he
I'm
probably regretted it.
I'm trying to
It's
remember
not for
who I
everyone.
heard this from. I was watching some video on this. Might have been the Score Esports. I don't remember. It was somebody.
Always dangerous.
It's always dangerous. But no, it was somebody who was reputable. I just literally can't remember it off the top of my head. No, it was Flom. It was Flom. So actually reputable source concerning Nitro, which was he had one NA offer and a bunch of European offers, and the NA offer was not a good NA offer. And he wanted to stay in North America. So it was realistically his only choice.
Yeah.
And I have a
I think
feeling
that
that's the
that is
same
a
for
big.
I have a feeling it's the same for a lot of the players that moved over to Valorant. Maybe they didn't get the European offers, but they got one offer from a not
Well,
great
we
NA
know the
team somewhere.
chaos players wanted to stay in Counter Strike.
Yeah.
We know John G wanted to stay in Counter Strike, but I think the problem the American players had is that a lot of them did want to stay in America, and obviously you're well within your rights to do that. But it seems more and more, unfortunately, to stay in Counter Strike, you have to go to Europe. Like, unfortunately, that happens a bit. I mean, I don't know if you've seen all the Asian teams boot camping in Europe as well.
Like Lin Vision's boot camping there right now, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. So
I think Tyloo is. Actually, I
checkmate as
know
well. I think.
Tyloo definitely is. Which, by
So it
the way,
seems
super side note, if Tyloo boot camp in Europe, since they're boot camping in Europe, I'm convinced that they're going to be like, they're going to come out and just take down a giant team quickly, because I think Tyloo with real practice is going to be the most interesting team in the world.
I still think that even with a year of EU practice, I don't think they'll ever unlearn some of
No,
their bad
neither do I.
habits,
I
and they're
think
just going to be like even more inconsistent.
I think they just capitalize on their bad habits. All right, we have to move on because there's still more stories we have to talk about. First thing I want to talk about is the fact that British Counter-Strike seems to actually be working.
Hell yeah. I obviously was working this event, and it's in Sweden. Like DreamHack is always in Sweden. All of the production staff, Swedish or speak Swedish.
You were the only Brit there.
I'm the only English guy there. There's a Polish lady who works there. But yeah, nearly all Swedish. A lot of the players, obviously European in some sense. And then Fnatic win a game, and they interview m0NESY. And you get a Brummie accent. Oh, it's so nice. I felt like I was home immediately. You hear a Brummie accent on broadcast. I'm like, this is my guy. This is my people.
But like, here's the thing. Like, they actually looked good.
Their T-side, Inferno, in the grand final was one of the best T-sides I've seen in a long time. You will rarely see Big made to look anywhere near as stupid as Fnatic made them look. Every flashbang was perfect. Their rotations were perfect. Their timings were perfect. I think they got 12 rounds on the T side of Inferno against Big, which is no mean feat. Like, this is a quality team. Like, okay, Big aren't the best team in the world, and they're probably not top 10 right now, but they will always punish mistakes, and they will always beat weaker teams. That's what Big do. And Fnatic blew them out. Like, 3-0'd them. It was... Some of the maps were a little bit close, but it always felt like Fnatic had a second gear to kick into. Like, m0NESY has just been reborn. He's a fucking monster. Brolan was comfortably the best player in the tournament.
There's two good things that have come out of that C9 project, right? One of them is showing m0NESY to the rest of the world.
Yeah.
One of them is Floppy, which I will stand by regardless of what team
Floppy's still
a
beast, man.
Floppy is still good at this game, but like showing that m0NESY could compete to the slightest level on Cloud9, I think it opens up so much.
Rather than showing m0NESY to the rest of the world, it showed the rest of the world to m0NESY. Like, I don't think m0NESY realized how good he was until Cloud9 picked him up, because if you look before he joined Cloud9, he looked like a good player. Joined Cloud9, did pretty decent there, and went back to Endpoint and smashed it. Like,
they just absolutely
ran through teams.
People. Yeah,
and
it was disgusting.
It was like something clicked. Like, he got a couple of lessons. He played at this level for a little while, and he went, I can do this. Like, he sort of realized. I don't know if you know what a negative is when it comes to like lifting weights and stuff. So basically, if you can lift, say, like 100 kilograms, but you can't lift 110, you get somebody to like give you 110 kilograms, and they help you take it, and then they help you push it back up again. And the idea being, you sort of get used to that weight, and you go back to, or you go one higher and you do that, and then you come back, and when you come down, it's not as heavy, and then you become more used to it. And that seems like what m0NESY did. He like went to a level above what he was, got used to it a little bit, and then just smurfed when he went back down. And then he realized, oh, I can actually like do this at a higher level. And he has, like, he was really good. But Brolan was just like far and away the best player in that tournament. Like, nobody else even looked like he was on that level.
Here's the thing: we knew that Brolan was going to be good. We knew that.
But you kind of forget it sometimes.
Yeah,
I know I do. I always forget about Brolan. I'm like, oh yeah, Brolan, he's decent.
Well, the problem is that
destroyed this tournament.
They put shit players around Brolan.
Yeah,
years.
That really didn't help. I think he had something like the highest damage in the tournament, the most kills, the best KD, like the most opening kills, the most headshots. Like, he was just like every single statistical thing you could find. He was in the top 5. He just destroyed everyone. He was so good. And as I say, their T sides were like excellent. And a lot of that is due to the fact that Brolan was consistently finding entry kills on the T side. I don't know, man. This team is like, this team will do some damage, like some serious damage. Like I'm pretty sure they're like top 10, and I'll like. Good teams, like,
as long as this team doesn't implode.
Yeah, I mean, that's also.
Let us remember, Smooya is on this team.
Yeah, it's 3 English players. Like, it's like having a French national team in football. Like, it's going to implode somehow. And they're either going to have an argument, or like one of the players is going to get arrested for blackmailing one of the others of a sex tape. That's true, by the way. That actually happened. There was a French footballer who blackmailed his teammate with a sex tape, allegedly.
Why?
I mean,
why?
I think it's still in court, but there's audio documents of him doing it. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, it's always like there's always a very real chance this team's going to implode. But
if it
right
doesn't,
now, I've not seen a team destroy Big that easily in a while.
All right, we have to move on. WePlay Academy League Season 2 just finished up. I believe the same exact 2 teams were in the finals again as Season 1. Yeah. Navi and Fnatic. Not Fnatic. Navi and m0NESY.
Yeah.
I'm dumb. m0NESY won again. m0NESY next is absolutely cracked.
Yeah.
Production value was amazing on WePlay. I won a WePlay major. I really liked the fact that they had heartbeat sensors on the players and had them on the overlay. That was just cool. Thoughts quickly before we move on to the next thing.
I obviously didn't watch much of it because I was at Open, but everyone seems to love it, and I like the idea. The Academy League is such a cool idea, and I think it's actually given more. It's put more eyes on the scene than any sort of tier 2 tournament does, which I think is.
As I say, people
cool.
Actually watch this. Like, people didn't watch Academy teams before. Like,
because if you're a fan of m0NESY, you're probably you want to support the Academy team.
Yeah. Plus the production being like, I'm gonna go back on production again. Production being actually good means that people have a reason to watch it.
Yeah.
Right? When you
they got Launders and Scrawny, like
they have Launders and Scrawny, they have Tombiz on Desk,
Pimp as well, right?
Pimp and Maui Snake.
Yeah,
right?
like
they have
tier 1 talent.
They're putting actual like emphasis on the people that are playing this, and that's awesome to me. All right,
yeah, it's
Blast,
a really cool idea.
Happening the last Blast tournament before the big Blast tournament, I think.
It's such a horrible timing for this because it's like,
I don't know how Blast works, to be
so
honest.
many of these teams probably want to make roster moves and can't. And it's just like, it's going to be full of dead teams, unfortunately.
I don't actually... Okay, so Blast World Final is what we're waiting on. That's the big one.
Yeah.
That's in December. That's the last thing before player break, which we have all through January into Katowice.
The cool thing about this tournament is we get to see the new Astralis, right?
Yes.
Because everyone else is, I think, 2 years behind. Like, everyone else is 2 years behind. Like, Fnatic is 2 years behind. Like, Malek is 2 years behind. Like, everyone else is 2 years behind. Like, a sort of dead roster. Well,
Well,
okay,
we might be able to
Na'Vi
see
won't be a dead roster. NIP might
we
be
might
playing
see the
S
new
Attack.
Vitality.
I don't think that maybe it'll happen before Blast.
We might see the new Vitality. I don't think we see the new phase. Ooh, we could see a new
I don't know.
phase if a Ropz thing happens. We could. It is a week though.
Yeah,
I know phase are going to boot camp like today.
yeah. So it's probably not Robson.
Yeah. Yeah, but the important things for this tournament, right, is that G2's not this. Is that Heroic and Na'Vi have already qualified for finals, right? Because the only thing that really matters here is the winner of this goes to Premier World Finals, right? So if Na'Vi wins, then it's whoever's in second place moves on. If Heroic wins, the second place that moves on. If it's a Na'Vi Heroic final, it's third place that moves on. So basically, there's only 6 teams actually competing here, is what I'm getting down to. And then there will be some teams that get through on Blast ranking. But the Blast Premier Final is actually like super important. It's $1 million prize pool with just the only teams there right now are Na'Vi, G2, Gambit, and Heroic.
If I was Na'Vi, I'd play m0NESY for this event.
Yep. I was just thinking that.
You're already qualified.
Play m0NESY, and then imagine how many offers you get from m0NESY after this event if he does well.
I guess the only problem is if he doesn't do well, does it drive his price down?
I don't know. We know that. Okay, so
you play him instead of Simple. Just give him all of the things. Just tell him to do whatever Simple does. If he does well, his price just fucking skyrockets.
If he does half of what Simple does,
and you just let Simple just like vibe and just chill out, go polish his trophy. Just put a pin in this for a second. Did you see that thing about Flusher? So the thing about Flamey on Na'Vi Academy that he was watching a
Forza.
He was watching a Forza stream in between maps, which is like fine, whatever. Like I don't really understand why it's such a big talking point.
Well, okay, the big talking point was like it was the fact that he was watching it instead of warming up. But like, I'm gonna be real here. There was an entire conversation in a Discord server that I'm in, right? Of like, when you're warming up, what is your game volume at? The answer for everyone was like 0.1, 0.01. It was like very low because everyone has Spotify cranked or a stream in the background or something. You don't listen to the game when you warm up unless you're a masochist and want to just listen to the game, right?
It's also entirely possible he was just sort of like de-stressing between maps.
Yeah,
like,
no, totally viable.
He's an authority figure. Yeah, I'm sure he is, but like this is like he's teaching them to be calm in these moments. Like I don't know. But also, regardless, did you see the thing about Flusher? No, and how Flusher used to warm up.
Oh yeah, by just looking at
his major. It's so fucking cold, bro. Like it's so good. You can't you're really stressed. You're about to play against Fnatic in a major. Yeah. Look over. This cunt's got his hands behind his head like that, looking at his coin. It's over, man. You can't play. You can't enter the server against him. It's already done. It's game over, man. It's game over. He's looking at his coin. That's how he's warming up. You can't play.
Also, disgusting. By the way, insane to me that Flamey is 24 years old.
Yeah, he was quite young when he joined Na'Vi, right?
He joined Na'Vi in 2015.
Yeah, so he was quite young.
He was like 18 when he joined 19.
Yeah,
Na'Vi.
Yeah, 18. Yeah, I knew he was young when he joined, so it's always baffling to me how young. Like MSL's like 27 or something, or 26, 27. Like he's not even that old. Like Shox is like 27. The one who always surprises me, actually. Do you know how old Lekro is? Lekro's like 28.
Yeah.
I always thought he was a kid.
No.
Like I thought when he joined NIP, he was young.
No, we weren't joking about Dignitas being the Swedish retirement home.
Yeah, no, I know, but I sort of realized when he joined North, I was like, wait, Lekro's over 25. I thought he was like 22. Like,
yeah,
I was amazed.
All right, quick prediction, because we are at an hour and 9 minutes, and 90% of that is just shit talking NA.
Quick prediction is Na'Vi win again.
Blast. You think Navi's going to win again? Who do you
Yeah.
think qualifies from this tournament into
FaZe.
You think FaZe qualifies?
I think FaZe qualify.
FaZe qualify. I'm going to say New Look Astralis qualifies.
Ooh, I don't trust them.
I'm not sure I trust him either, but I really trust Blame F and Config. I don't
Blame
know if
F
I trust
outside of a
anyone
calling
else.
role will be interesting.
I don't know if I trust anyone else in that team, but I feel like Blame F not calling is just going to be like, it's going to be Blame F on steroids, which he's already on steroids, but like...
Did you know his bench press personal best, by the way, is 195 kilograms?
Yep. Hold on, my 195 kg 2 pounds. Yeah, that's insane.
I did 60 kilograms for 1 rep, and I felt I was on top of the world. I had 60 kilograms. I was like, you know what? I'm like, that's pretty reasonable. 60 kilos. I'm pretty happy with that.
When I was lifting in high school, when I was doing track and field, right? And I was not an upper body person. Mine was 90 kilograms.
It's decent.
This man is jacked.
195. Yeah, you know what? I've changed my mind. Astralis are going through. I can't deal with it. 195 kilograms.
Bro, he literally can lift Glaive and Lucky up.
Oh, easily. Probably and the third player.
Together. Like, no, he could literally lift Glaive up with one hand and play Counter-Strike with the other hand.
He might be able to lift Nip.
Just the entirety of
Nip. Yeah, he might be able to just lift NIP. He might be able to bench press NIP. They're all like skinny and like short. He might be able to bench press him.
All right, and on that, we're going to end for the week. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at Logan Ramhap, at Aizyesque, and at TLDR. We'll be back again next week in a slightly different location.
Quite possibly, yes.
Which will
Not
be
sure.
Fun. Yeah. And until that point, next week, we'll see you all then.
That's it a bit.